Hi, good morning, and welcome to the ZP vlog and podcast. We like to do this every Sunday at approximately 8 a.m. We have gone a little late today, and it's just because we were actually doing an extra webinar answering technical questions. So we tend to use this vlog and podcast to really talk about sort of news that we've put out for the week. But as I say, if you're kind of interested, there was actually a webinar, mostly around screen printed electrodes, that just went out around about 8 o'clock. Let me just jump into it a little bit and say that we just put some news out this week about testosterone sensors. I think it's something that we've talked about a lot, that small molecules have really been done, like glucose and lactate and oxygen. These things have really kind of been analyzed over the years. Proteins have been done through like things like immunosensors, but it's really the hormones that I think that are really getting a lot of interest these days. So we have highlighted that we do have, for example, a testosterone sensor, and I know people are interested in the kind of hormones associated with female health as well. So doing biosensors, electrochemical sensors for hormones, I think is the new frontier, and it's already here. At ZP, we're definitely involved with it. So delighted to just promote this week that we've been working on our hormone sensor. And we do make pack sizes available, ironically, in pack sizes of 100 and 1 million, because you just want to demonstrate that, pack sizes at 100 are expensive, but once you get to the 1 million pack size, then it becomes a lot more reasonable. And it's just the benefits of scale. And that's something that ZP does talk about a lot, actually, is the commercialization of sensors as well. So this week we were actually at Medica, and I was asked, for a simple procedure for functionalizing carbon screen printed electrodes. And I did mention in that, to the questioner that, we did have a sort of paper, and it used Pyrene NHS, and I sort of suggested that paper. So at ZP, we do make a really good screen printed carbon electrodes. We got our 501 carbon, and we got our hypervalue carbon electrode. They're 83 cents each, and they're high quality. And I think people should be using these materials. And if you want to functionalize them with recognition elements, then Pyrene NHS is a good material. And there is a paper out there in one of the IEEE journals. I'm just trying to remember myself. Where I am an author on it. Happy to be an author on it. Now we are the sensitivity comparison of macro and micro electrodes for human chorionic gonadotropin HCG biomarkers. And we did it by square wave voltammetry. So there is a paper out there, and I was an author on it. Some other news from ZP this week. As I said, we were at Medica this week, so that was pretty intense. If you're not sure about Medica, Medica is one of the world's biggest medical trade fairs. Much less of a kind of academic, experience with lots of talks, and much more of a kind of what's the market really doing kind of experience, because there's over 5,000 exhibitors there, so it's really quite good. Changing gears slightly, at ZP, I think, you will find that we do put a lot of educational material out there, and that includes, at the moment we're supporting the production of chili products quite a lot. This really gets into an interesting point, which is some products are very heterogeneous. What I mean by that is there's like an analyte in chilies called capsaicin. So where is the capsaicin? Is it just throughout the product? No, it's not. It's actually concentrated in the chili pepper in its ovary. So there's this kind of, if you split a pepper in half, there's some white material in there, and that's where the capsaicin is actually at its most intense, because people sort of think it's in the seeds. I mean, I must admit, I've anecdotally thought it was in the seeds, but nobody's ever really told me that, or nobody's ever demonstrated it to me. So we do go through life picking up some of these assumptions, and those assumptions are wrong. The reason we're doing this is because obviously we want people to be able to accurately measure the hotness of their chili pepper or their chili powder. And so you have to start off with quite a lot of educational material to say, well, look, where is that chili? How am I going to make a sample or that is homogeneous from a heterogeneous starting point? The other part of the video that we did talk about as well, which was really the fact that when you dry a chili, it's quite interesting that, you know, the water content of a chili is approximately 90%. So when you dry a chili out, the capsaicin concentration actually goes up by 10x, and you can really see that in the data as well. So it's nice when science and theory actually matches up then with science and theory matches up with actual practicality, that in fact, you know, when you do those measurements after the drying, you actually do hit that. I said that we went late today on this particular webinar because we just did a webinar, 33 minutes long, answering only 2 questions. So you can see the amount of effort that ZP puts into technical questions come in during the week. And this week, people were asking about screen printed electrodes for an aqua application, and also screen printed electrodes for a dairy application. And so we did give some very detailed answers. And I think about it, you know, essentially somebody will ask us an email and I'll spend something like 15 minutes alone talking about the answer to it. But you can understand that those slides, you know, this is the sort of ZP mentality, that, you know, it takes a lot longer to put those slides together, let's put it that way. But happy to do it. Why? Because our mentality is very different. We want people to get to market. So we want them to have a good start on their sort of journey on that. Something else that we realize that at ZP, we're really good at solving the technical problems in order to get people to market. So those technical problems are reproducible screen printed electrodes, reproducible biosensors, manufacturing of biosensors, cloud-enabled hardware so that those sensors can be used. So, you know, we have all that technology. And then you're left with the next problem of actually operations or order fulfillment. Somebody places an order with you, how the hell are you going to fulfill it? Well, at ZP, we actually have a drop shipping / order fulfillment service where essentially you sell something, we get the notification, we drop ship the sensors plus hardware to that particular client. So that is something that we already do for our clients, and we just wanted to emphasize it. So it really leaves you with a very lean business, because in business you have to do what's adding value, and what's adding value is sales and marketing, development of your core technologies, listening to the customer and actually, you know, essentially iterating on your product. But things like putting sensors and electronics in boxes is not value. I mean, so we use the lean manufacturing principles and lean startup mentality and lean manufacturing principles. And so you can benefit from that by using our order fulfillment services. We do have our S-Cubed event. So we are going to have a particular conference, a specialized conference in June 2024 in the UK on the commercialization of electrochemical sensors and electrochemical assays. So I just want to flag that up. June 2024, please put it in your calendar. Some other news from ZP as well is really commercialization of point of care blood tests. So this is really talking about the technology stack that we have that at ZP, you know, and I say it, you know, we borrow very heavily from the blood glucose strip world, because the blood glucose strip world really teaches us, if you want to do a point of care blood test, then the best product in the world for that, in my opinion, or group of products, is the blood glucose strip. And at ZP, even though we know that blood glucose strip testing is commoditized, nobody needs another one, but it's there are new applications like doing glucose in saliva, for example, is kind of interesting. Doing glucose in food production, that's kind of interesting. But we just say, look, that technology stack of blood glucose monitoring is very good. We use that, but we use it in many other applications. And I suppose our SensiAll platform, and even that comment about drop shipping, it's all based on a very scalable and demonstrated scalable blood glucose strip technology. We did give a talk a few weeks ago on, really, I would say, commercializing academic research. We gave this talk at something called the Future Blood Testing Network. And so I did put some slides up today. We did put some slides up, and we also put a video on LinkedIn as well about that. So if you want to kind of get a perspective on potentially how to commercialize academic research, then don't hesitate to take a look at that. So I think that's the vlog and podcast from ZP for this week. It's always a mix of technical, it's also a mix of commercial. And I would just want to say that we do have a series of free webinars. One on Julie, cloud data management system, one on SenseIt-All, a really good technology for reaching MVP, minimally viable product, which is part of that lean startup philosophy that we do have. And we do have a webinar on FoodSense as well, which FoodSense is a good, even if you're not into chili and ginger testing, seeing that webinar will let you understand how to translate a academic sensor, biosensor, electrochemical assay into an actual product. So if you have any questions of ZP, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can find us at zimmerpeacock.com/contact us, and I hope to hear from you soon. Otherwise, have a good rest of the day and speak to some of you doing the webinars during the week. Okay, thanks very much.